Thought that they would be a little more sluggish today, but that wasn't the case. I thought especially in that first group, and we've got a few more veteran players in there, but they drove hard today and got through it and pushed through the skate.
Do you feel like those veteran guys kind of set the tone for especially some of the newcomers?
They will drive everything because some new guys come in and they want to try to get through practice so they can survive the skate. But if you watch the last two guys, like two of the most tired guys in the end of that skate were Forsling and Barkov. They're incredibly fit men, but they push so hard for the practice, they're supposed to be tired by the end of the skate. So and eventually the young guys get that they can't do that, right? Because they can't keep up with them in practice. And then they get out, and then they get beat in the skate. It's a tough day for them. So, no, it's good. We've got the right men that are willing to do hard things, leading the laps, driving the pace of play, and then it's almost impossible to push a team this hard unless the players are on board. I mean, you just be constantly having to drive them, and that just won't work. So these guys do this on their own.
About a year ago, Josh Mahura got here, and we all talked about what a great opportunity it was, took it around with it. What's the opportunity like now for him this year, obviously, with some openings there on defense? Can he, do you think, maybe take that next step?
Yeah, that's an interesting question about a next step because his play was very consistent. I thought it built through over the course of the year. What I would want from Josh is possibly more minutes of the same play, the play that he finished with. Certainly will not put a ceiling on any player, but you know, he really established himself in the NHL last year, and now he's got to do it again, right? And then you put back-to-back years together like he did last year, then he's a National Hockey League for as long as his body will allow him to be, right? I think he would have, at that point, established his careers. But this is a big year for him because, and the thing we would want Josh to be mindful of is not trying. I mean, you want to improve in every area, but reestablishing what he did is priority one.
He's also going to be probably put with other guys. Last year, you were able to run him and Gudas out there basically every time. You know what I mean?
Very
That's
consistent.
going to be an adjustment.
We were fortunate. Well, we lost Aaron for a big chunk of time, and we lost Radko for a chunk of time during the regular season. But you know, Montour and Forsling and those other guys were pretty consistent in our lineup, so there wasn't a lot of change. We're guaranteed change here this year, just on the players that left and the players that are here, and then you know the two right-handed shots that are out of the lineup. So not only changing partners, but some of these guys will have to go over and play the right for us for a while. So there is change. They've got to be ready for it.
Mike Riley says he's willing to do that, likes it there, says he's comfortable there.
You know what? There are players that once they do it, they get comfortable there, and then you'll get some guys playing their offside that would never want to go back. That once they get into that rhythm, Kulikov for us in Winnipeg as well played the right side. So we're not going to ask anybody to go over who's never done it. I won't have to ask anybody who doesn't want to do it. But all of those guys. And then when you're young and you're trying to break in the league, it's, hey, I'll play goal is the right answer. So those guys will make the best of their chance.
But haven't most guys done it at least one point?
You know what? No. You'll get guys that will, I mean, sure, everybody gets jammed up in a game or two, right? But there'll be a whole chunk of guys who've never played their off position. It's unique in defense. It's far more difficult to play your offside on defense, and that's just about turning speed. Forwards can now, I mean, that's almost all these guys, and a whole chunk of them would rather play their offside up front.
You have Nick Ritchie here on a PTO, Brett Ritchie.
Yeah.
Here on a PTO, you played against him. I mean, in Winnipeg a lot, I'm sure. Yeah. What's it going to take for him to make this team? Obviously, there's not a lot of room from what we can tell roster-wise, but what does he have to show you?
He has a skill set. He's for a big man. He's actually quite well rounded. Right, he can handle the puck. He can shoot the puck. He is physical. He can fight. He can play that physical game. What he's going to try to do. The exhibition games are critical for him. So we have 4 or 5 players on the ice right now that physicality and edge is a big part of their game, which is difficult to show in the first 4 or 5 days of camp because I don't want them really taking somebody heavy into the boards to show the fact, I know he can hit, I know he will hit. The exhibition games are just defining himself. We're a very, very strong forechecking team, and he needs to find a place in that. We believe he can. It was part of the invite reasons. We had liked him over the years as a player we would consider bringing in. had the opportunity this year. We do believe with his hands, he moves well for a big man. He is heavy. That he can add to our forecheck and be a part of it and excel in it.
Sounds like you're describing me.
You exactly. You and I still got a chance. If we just use that, we're big and heavy.
And move well.
Yeah, well, but that part, that's, if we could just get that out of it, we
Back
got a
him a
chance.
bit.
Yeah, that's going to separate us.
Any update on Carter Verhaeghe?
Just day to day, there's nothing overly significant. He actually dealt with this, a version of this last year in training camp. We just keep him off till he's right, but it's not a, there's not actually, it's muscle, so it's not an issue. There's no bones or anything involved.
And we talked a lot about Mahura, obviously, but Forsling, I mean, this is a really big year for him. I mean, last year of a contract, he's shown up a few times and had to fill Aaron's role and other guys' role. I mean, he's good opportunity for him, I would think.
Okay, we'll pick it up on it. It's a good opportunity for him. I don't feel it's a big year for him, and the reason that is, for me, he's established his game. Like, he doesn't have to have a big year to prove he can do it. He's been a hell of a defenseman in this league for the last few years, and when you watch him in camp, he's clearly, I feel, an elite NHL defenseman in his skating and his ability. I mean, just his durability alone. So if Gus plays the exact same way that he played last year, he's going to do very, very well because he's put himself into that position.
Have you thought what you're going to do power play wise? Would he get an opportunity to run it like Montour did last year, at least early on?
He's going to get power play time, but I would say that Oliver Ekman-Larsson is elite in this league at getting a puck to the net, and that's probably the first place that would look. It's part of the reason that we signed him. He is one of the very best. Just look at the numbers that he put up, getting a puck off the wall to the middle and getting that puck to the net. So he's going to get a look.
What part of camp do you start looking at that kind of stuff? Maybe after the doubleheader?
The first time we will talk about the power play will be the morning skate of the Carolina road game. So yes, after the doubleheader, we won't skate the next day. We'll probably make some assignments then. So we'll some of the kids that go back to junior, some of those guys, so they will have gotten 5 really good days here and get a good idea. And then we'll still run 2 groups off that, but the first time we will talk or show video on our power play will be the morning of that game. Okay, guys.
All right. Thank you.